to give more responsibility to national managers, allowing them to better tailor the product offering and marketing mix to local conditions. Then 2 questions. Which staffing policy would be best suited to fill Levi Strauss's managerial positions in the different countries where it operates under its new strategy? Motivate your answer with facts from the case study, 5 marks. And then accordingly, which international competitive strategy is Levi Strauss following with its new strategy? And again, motivate. So the key here is the motivation you give, because I might have read the case study the other way around and you come up with a different reading, but as long as you build the link and there is a motivation, I'll take any strategy, any staffing policy. So staffing policy. So the marketing mix we've seen is customized throughout. They're in different countries and they tailor their products, promotion, price, and distribution to the local needs. And now we're thinking about these managerial positions. How should we fill these managerial positions? Which staffing policy should I use? Now for this, you don't have to have read the case study because you've got the information, roughly. So any of you should be able to answer this. Yes? Doesn't work? You press that red button right there, the flat one? Yes, and you leave it. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's geocentric policy.
Yes?
Because it mentioned in the case study that Levi Strauss was hamstrung by high customer segment product line, which means that they had to that high pressure for local responsiveness and to reduce costs.
Yeah.
The transnational
Oh, sorry.
strategy, which falls under the geocentric.
Okay. All right. So so she also answered the second one. It would be a transnational strategy because of high pressure for local adaptation and also high cost pressure. And therefore the staffing policy would be a geocentric one. Yes, let's hear other opinions.
I said it would be regional.
Can you? Yeah.
I said it would be regionocentric.
Regiocentric.
Because obviously if you adapt it locally, each regional manager will have the best expertise on the staff, etc., and staffing policies there.
Okay.
So if they adapt it locally, you can choose a manager in that region to do it.
Okay, so you're basically saying it looks like the tastes are kind of regional, not so much country specific. So the staffing policy could be regiocentric. And the competitive strategy would be? Or regional? Regional? Or regional? Regional. It's easy. Okay, that's another opinion on the floor. Other opinions? Or you want to defend one of the two? Because now we have to decide which one is it? Or is it both? So remember, the transnational competitive strategy has a high pressure for local adaptation, very high, and also to reduce costs. The regional one, high pressure to reduce costs, but not so high in terms of local adaptation. You can have a product that speaks to more nationalities in the same geographic area. So you could speak of a product for Southeast Asia and one for South America. And then the staffing policy would go in line with that. Now, to answer this question, you can see you can tackle the integration link from any side. So you can enter through the understanding of which competitive strategy you're using, and then you choose the staffing policy that's most suited. So whatever you find is easiest for you. Any opinions? Those who are on WhatsApp maybe got some answers. Yes.
So just asking a question. If you picked a staffing policy and you supported it
Yeah.
well enough,
Yeah.
would you look at the fact that I supported things based on the case study? Okay.
Yes. So you can mention something from the case study supporting your policy, your staffing policy, but then if there's contradicting information in the case study, then it wouldn't be correct. Yeah. So which one do you think it is? Or is there a third option you're thinking about? Another? Is it, you find it hard, you just don't want to risk, just want to understand. So this tells me how well you understand these concepts. Is it like besides your understanding at this stage of your studying for the exam, or yeah? So there isn't anything you need to know from the case study besides what they mentioned or what I've repeated. So are you not able to see the staffing policy, or you're just not sure? Anyone who is struggling with the concept, please let me know what's not clear. Yes? It'll be appreciated.
Well, what I basically think is the pressure to reduce costs really that high in all regions? Is it? In some countries, if they have, as you say, they market in some countries, like say in Europe, they market it as more like a top market kind of product. So then
Okay, you have a point. Yeah, so
it can obviously also be multi-domestic almost, but this is not, in a way, it makes sense, because they also customize everything to meet the local.
yeah. Okay, well, it seems that the customization is kind of regional. You have a point. Can anyone maybe reconciliate this doubt with what's in the case study? So your colleague is saying, but it doesn't seem that there is pressure, price pressure in every country. So in India there is, in America there is, but what about Europe?
So in the case that I get why it could be a polycentric staffing policy, because the pressure to adapt locally is high. That's why they picked national managers, which is also regional. But to reduce costs, that's why they shut down the firm in America and then they moved it abroad. So pricing strategies are tailored to specific regions. So within the pressure to reduce costs below, because they shut down the factory and they moved it abroad to have lower costs.
To have lower costs. Yeah, so the pressure is high. Right. I would say because that's the reason for them going offshore, to have an offshore facility for production, is because pressure to reduce cost is high. Now, I'd like to mention there is a difference again between the price to the consumer and the pressure to reduce cost. The pressure to reduce cost could be because of competition, so, or because of you want to have more chances of survival. So you have pressure to reduce cost internally. It not necessarily translates into a lower price all the time. So when we speak about cost, is that internal cost structure, and then it's not in the case study explicitly, but one could understand, okay, it's a very competitive market. They want to reduce costs because there are many other competitors, specifically Walmart in the States, but there are so many other jeans manufacturers. So I would definitely go for a strategy that has a high cost pressure. All right, well, this is my reading of it. I think it's a regional, let's start with the competitive strategy. I think it's a regional competitive strategy, high pressure to reduce cost, not so much high to adapt locally. Now, you can, to help you with this, you can think of maybe two extremes. One is genes that are the same for all countries, and another extreme case would be to have a very, very different type of gene across all countries, or even that you don't have genes, that you have to come up with a new product to dress legs, let's say. So that will be a high pressure for local adaptation. So here we can still like keep a genes product, and its features are shared in bigger regions. So you can speak of a South American type of Levi's and a European one and a one for Asia. And therefore, then it follows that the staffing policy would be regiocentric. You could have given me some evidence from the case study that there are regional differences, and then you given a few examples of those regional differences, and then you could have spoken about the two types of pressure, just to make your argument sound. Any questions? So, as you can see, perhaps with a case study you need one reading and then a second reading, taking some notes, challenge your points. Sometimes it could seem transnational, but then you really ask yourself, but are genes completely different between, for example, Brazil and Argentina? Or is there a similar? Yeah, so take your time with the case study. Sometimes if you read very quickly, then you pick the wrong one. It's not entirely off, but there are some other elements that might bring you to another strategy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
I just want to ask, like, when it comes to adaptation and stuff, because now from the case study we saw that they had to adapt the genes to different countries, like South Africa, and said more in the back and stuff like that. So what level of adaptation is considered as a high level of adaptation?
Well, when it changes for each country. So if there's high evidence in the case study that each country has quite a different product. So, but okay, for Africa they only spoke about South Africa, so that could be confusing because you don't know what the product is going to look like in Namibia. But then they speak of Asia and South America, so those are bigger regions. So those are already symptoms that there is a regional approach. And I think that even the word regional differences is used. Yeah. So is there any commonality within regions that will make it regional? Yes. Do you understand? Kind of. Okay, let's see. So in Asia, shorter leg lengths are common, whereas in South Africa, more room is needed. So, okay, like I said, South Africa could be confusing because the only South African countries mentioned, but I mean, Asia is like, we have the same kind of approach for Asia, shorter leg room for the whole of Asia. So that would be a regional kind of pressure to adapt at the regional level, not. So they don't say, okay, in China, there's this difference, and then in Taiwan, there's other difference, and it's quite a difference, right? So that's what I mean, yeah. Okay, any questions? Right, we're going to move on. That's the other case study, the next 3 questions. So this case study was about an expat from Brazil. So she works for a pharmaceutical company that's headquartered in Belgium, but she's from Brazil. and then she is sent to Belgium as an expat for a 3-year international assignment to build plants in, I think, Russia and some other country, the Ukraine, because she was successful in Brazil and Argentina. She was also an expat in Argentina at some point. And then the issue is she moved there with her husband and the kids. Kids are very happy. The husband is a medical doctor, and he cannot practice in Belgium. And they really didn't find him a suitable job, and he's very frustrated, and he wants to leave. And so Anna, the protagonist of the expat dilemma, also is thinking about going back without finishing her international assignment. Okay, so Anton Denois, the senior HR executive in charge of managing overseas assignments, is clearly facing the possibility that Ana Lobato may go back to Brazil and not complete her international assignment in Belgium. So Anton Denois is the HR manager internationally. What HR solutions could he employ to make Anna's current assignment more attractive and convince her to complete her current assignment in Belgium? Explain how each solution applies to the case study. 1 mark for each correct HR solution, and 1 mark for each correct explanation. So in this chapter, we went through quite a number of options and solutions, packages you can offer an expat to make it more desirable to stay as an expat. So we can it's very simple. You just mention a possible option and you explain why this will solve the problem. Now, they're not all applicable because some things are already in place. So when you read the case study, you have to, if you understand the theory, then you're able to decide, okay, this isn't in place, we can put it in and it will work because. Whereas other things are not, there is no problem with this, so this kind of option, I'm not going to put it in place. So we put yourself in the shoes of the HR manager, and what would you do to make Anna stay in Brazil? And it was for 12 marks, so. Okay, I appeal to those who have read the case study and or taken the test. Yes, sir. Thanks.
So with this question, was it the stuff about where they have to shorten the duration of the international assignments?
For example, yes.
And then they use stuff about compensation, bonuses, allowances?
Yeah, so that's basically the whole expat section of the last unit, no, chapter 17, yeah. Any ideas from your side, since you? Yes, ma'am.
I said compensation. Anna complained that the cost of living is very high in Europe, so they could give her more money because that's initially what she wanted. Yeah.
Okay, so that's case study-wise, that's correct. You have identified a problem and a possible solution. In order to score more marks, you'll have to kind of identify the right heading under which to put that under. So is that a bonus? Which type of bonus? Is that an allowance? Which type of allowance? Is that?
Is it not compensation under a heading called cost of living?
Yeah, it's an allowance. So you have a few allowances, I think 5, and one of them is called the cost of living allowance. It's an allowance to basically make up for the difference in the cost of living. So the salary is comparable to what she is paid in Brazil, and that's normal practice. And then what international companies do, they add different allowances and bonuses to kind of match the different conditions. So here cost of living is higher, therefore she should get a cost of living allowance so that she is happy, because she does complain everything is very expensive in Europe. So the answer would be cost of living allowance, because Anna is complaining that everything is so expensive in Europe. So that's 2 marks. We've got 10 more.